four. I got it right, and there are four of you there. One's missing. You're not politicians, you're judges, so I know you'll be good at giving like a 1-minute brief opening on who you are, basically your name and what you're running and what your interests are outside of being a judge.
My name is Steve Burke. I've been on the planet for 58 years. I've spent 29 years of my life in the courtroom as a trial attorney. I was born and raised in Iowa, went to the University of Iowa, then went on to law school at the University of Baltimore. I worked my way through college and law school as a truck driver, as a crane operator, as a bulldozer operator, an iron worker, and then eventually as a school teacher. I graduated from the University of Iowa with a teaching certificate. I taught junior high and high school language arts. Before I graduated from law school, I got a job offer in South Florida. I moved to South Florida and practiced law down there for quite some time, and did a variety of different cases. Actually pretty much spanned the spectrum of what you can do in courtrooms. Not only did I work in Southern Florida, but I've tried cases all over the state. I've been in courtrooms everywhere from Jacksonville to Key West to all points in between, and up the West Coast, Sarasota, Ocala, Orlando. Private practice for 29 years. I've done a lot of criminal defense. I've done everything from, I'm out of time, or? Okay, thank you.
And Mr. Havens, if you could give a brief opening.
Good afternoon. I'm Dustin Havens. I'm 41 years old. I am married to my wife Allison for 11 years. We have two daughters, Camille, age 7, Lila, age 6, both of whom attend Spruce Creek Elementary School in Port Orange. I am a 13-year prosecutor with the State Attorney's Office. I am assigned to a felony trial docket, which means I'm in court as the attorney of record every day. I am also specially assigned to prosecute the sexually violent predator cases in our office, which takes me county-wide, also up to Flagler County when necessary, under the Sexually Violent Predator Act. I was the supervising trial attorney in the juvenile division for 8 years. In my time in the juvenile division, I represented the office on the Stuart Marchman Center Advisory Board, as well as the Volusia County Regional Detention Center Advisory Board. I was also given the Community Partnership Award from New Start Ministries for my work in the juvenile division while I was there. I was able to streamline the processes in the office. When I started, there were 5 attorneys handling that court docket. Thank you for your time.
Mr. Kelly, Chris Kelly, could you please give a brief opening?
Thank you. My name is Chris Kelly, and I am a candidate for Volusia County Judge Group 4. I was born and raised here in Volusia County. I'm 43 years old. I've been practicing law now for close to 17 years and have a broad range of experience in both civil and criminal practice. I've been a prosecutor for over 10 years and spent over 6 years out in a general civil practice where I was a partner in a law firm in Daytona Beach. I currently manage the Daytona Beach office of the State Attorney's Office, the Felony Division, where I'm responsible for over 20 attorneys who fill our various divisions from felony trial to our career criminal to our sex crimes to our drug unit. My job is to manage the day-to-day operations there, put them in the best position to do their job. So I'm helping them resolve their problems and handle their caseloads more efficiently on a daily basis. So I've got a broad range of experience in civil and criminal and demonstrated leadership and management skills that make me ready to be your next county court judge. Thank you.
Mr. Adam Warren, brief opening.
My name is Adam Warren. I'm a resident of Volusia County. I was raised here. I was raised here since I was 6 years old. I attended Stetson University. I also attended Stetson College of Law. I graduated from Seabreeze High School. I also attended Our Lady of Lourdes and Father Lopez High School as well. I was a prosecutor for 7 years. I prosecuted everything from capital murder to DUIs, sexual battery, and various theft and burglary crimes. And I am looking forward to being your next county court judge.
Thank you very much. This gentleman had wanted to ask a question at the earlier judge thing, and I meant to give him his time, and I've asked him to.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. I'm Andrew Jaton from DeLand. In listening to your background, I'm not sure, do any of you have experience both as a prosecutor and as a criminal defense attorney? No?
I do have some limited experience as a criminal defense attorney. While I was in private practice, I handled probably about a dozen criminal defense cases.
Of what nature?
Ranging from failure to return a rental car, possession of cannabis, driving infractions, and so forth.
If any of you would like to address the issue that some of us in the legal community would feel most comfortable having a misdemeanor judge who's been on both sides, so that we feel confident that that person can be fair on things like motion to suppress, motion to dismiss, things like that. And would any of you like to address that?
Sure. Go ahead. I don't think that it's really necessary that you have played both sides of the courtroom. I know a couple of my opponents have not done any civil work to speak of. I'm not sure that really is to their detriment. I think that we're all bright enough up here that we can look up the law and understand it. In terms of any sort of bias or prejudice that someone might bring, you know, we're trained in law school to be able to argue both sides of the case. I've never been a prosecutor. I have, however, had to represent young victims. I had a 6-year-old boy that got his face ripped apart by a guard dog in a personal injury case. So that's the same sort of thing, you know, representing victims, people that have been wronged or injured. So although I've never been a prosecutor, I have, to that extent, been on the other side of the courtroom. I think that there should be a concern if, for example, one of my opponents, and I'm out of time, maybe I can address that concern later.
I can tell you, I am a prosecutor. I've been a prosecutor for 13 years. However, my wife is an assistant public defender with the public defender's office, which it keeps me balanced, okay? When I have issues in cases that if I start to get the prosecutorial eye, you know, she will sit down with me and we will go over and look at the possible defenses. I am always evaluating my cases. Every case I look at, I am always evaluating to see what the possible defenses are, how strong my case is as a prosecutor, and try to reach a fair resolution. I do that every day. So even though I don't have the criminal defense background, I still have the fair and impartial eye and would serve well as a judge.
Yeah, I think just to follow up on what Mr. Havens said, as prosecutors, our job is to be critical of the cases that come in, and we have to evaluate them from an ethical standpoint to make sure that the evidence is there to support the charge, and to make sure that, you know, under the law that we can prove that before we sign our name to that charging document. So we do kind of take on the role of a defense attorney in evaluating the case, and then once we determine that evidence is there, then we become an advocate and we prosecute to the fullest extent at that point. So we do kind of take on that role a little bit in intaking cases.
I agree with my colleague. Prosecutors are not only advocates for the state, but they are ministers of justice. So they are following the law and looking at the facts to see whether under Florida law there is sufficient facts to support the charge. Additionally, in my case, when I was 15 years old, my mother took the bench, and I was taught from a young age that it's very important for judges to be fair and impartial. And before that, my mom did both criminal defense and she was a prosecutor. My dad was the former state attorney before he went into criminal defense. At the table, we would often talk about these issues and talk about the pros and cons of prosecuting certain cases. And finally, I would mention in my case, I have done a lot of motions for post-conviction relief where I'm looking at the case from the perspective from a criminal defense attorney.
Sir, did you get your questions answered?
Yeah,